Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Surbhi Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 17th of April. Pakistan mocking itself by taking scribes to madrasa India didn't even target, says Indian Defence Minister. Protesters in London demand Pakistan to stop exploiting water resources in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. And list of delegation for Afghan peace talks in Doha, not all inclusive, says critiques. And now for all the details. Indian Defence Minister Neelum-Jhelum said on Wednesday that Pakistan is making a mockery of itself by taking selected journalists to a madrasa which was not even touched by the Indian Air Force instead of terrorist training camp which was attacked. On February 26th, India had claimed to have conducted an airstrike targeting an advanced training camp of Jaish-e-Mohammed terror group inside Pakistan. Pakistan is making a mockery of itself by taking selected journalists to a madrasa which was not even touched by the Indian Air Force instead of the terror training center which was attacked, Indian Defence Minister Neelum-Jhelum said on Wednesday. On February 26th, Indian Air Force fighter jets had claimed to have bombed Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed or JEM terror group's advanced training camp inside Pakistan. In an exclusive interview to ANI news agency, Sitharaman said the onus to prove whether a terrorist camp was hit or not during the airstrike was on Pakistan.
Now, if you take people to the madrasa, obviously there wouldn't be any semblance of an attack. Even after 40 days, you could have taken them the next day. The madrasa wasn't attacked. None of the schools or civilian places have been touched. So Pakistan is making a mockery, and if anything, I would think journalists of some seriousness would ask them, allow us to freely roam around.
The airstrike was conducted in the aftermath of a suicide bombing claimed by Jaish-e-Mohammed, which killed at least 40 Central Reserve Police Force personnel in Pulwama district of India's Jammu and Kashmir on February 14th. Indian government soon after the attack said that it had incontrovertible evidence of Pakistani involvement. India has long accused Pakistan for harboring terrorists who mount attacks on its soil. Pakistan denies the allegations. Moving on, people from Pakistan-administered Kashmir living in United Kingdom on Tuesday called on Pakistan to fulfill promises made before the start of the Neelum-Jhelum hydropower project and help save local environment and nearly 500,000 local population. They also expressed concerns over the newly proposed Kohala hydropower project in the illegally occupied region.
People from Pakistan-administered Kashmir living in the United Kingdom organized a protest outside the Pakistani High Commission in London on Tuesday to demand Islamabad to stop exploiting water resources in the region. The protesters opposed the construction of Neelum-Jhelum hydropower project, which has diverted the river water flow and has affected normal life in Muzaffarabad. They also expressed serious environmental concerns due to the newly proposed Kohala project. They demanded an immediate ban on both the projects on the rivers, which are the prime sources of water in the illegally occupied region.
पाकिस्तान ने जो है वो दरिया नीलम का रुख मोड़ दिया है और अब जो है वो दरिया झेलम का रुख मोड़ने का उसने मंसूबा बना रखा है और रियासत जम्मू कश्मीर के लोग जो है इस जबर के खिलाफ यहाँ पर इकट्ठे हैं.
Meanwhile, Raja Farooq Haider, Prime Minister of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, who had come to urge protesters at a sit-in camp against the hydropower projects to end their protest, was embarrassed over his government's negligence on the issue. Residents of Muzaffarabad are already reeling from the adverse effects of diversion of Neelum River. The newly proposed Kohala project, which will see diversion of Jhelum River through a similar tunnel system, has compounded their worries.
In news from Afghanistan, critics have dismissed the final list of Qatar delegation, saying it requires to be inclusive and that it should represent people from all over the country. The list includes 90 delegates introduced by political parties and 150 others by government. It also includes 52 women.
Hours after the Afghan government announced a finalized list of Qatar delegation, some critics said the 250-member list requires to be inclusive and that it should represent people from all over the country. The list shows that 90 delegates have been introduced by political parties and movements, and 150 others have been introduced by the government. It also includes 52 women. The list also includes the names of former jihadi leaders and former senior government officials including Ismail Khan, Ata Mohammad Noor and Mohammad Yunus Kanuni.
هغه لیست باندې جنجال دی چې احزاب جوړ کړی دي. احزاب په دې کې صحیح رول نه دی ادا کړی او د شخصي سلیقې پر بنیاد دا لیست جوړ کړی دی. نو په لحاظه دغه لیست موږ ته قابل قبول نه دی.
Meanwhile, Ata Mohammad Noor, former governor of Balkh province and CEO of Jamiat-e-Islami party, said they dismissed the list of Qatar delegation. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani spokesperson Haroon Chakansuri announced that the list includes people from all layers of the society. President Ghani's special envoy Omar Dordzai said last week that Qatar meeting is a platform for exchanging views on issues around the peace process between Afghans and the Taliban members.
More news from Afghanistan. Activists in Afghanistan's Balkh province organized a march on Tuesday to raise awareness and express their concerns over the violence against women in the country. The rally was also followed by an exhibition reflecting the plight of the Afghan women.
A number of women's rights activists and students organized a street show in Afghanistan's Balkh province on Tuesday to voice their concerns against an increase in violence against women in the country. Members of the rally said women's role should be taken into consideration in the political and economic spheres. Farzana Mohammadi, a female officer in Afghan National Army, said Afghan women can apply a bigger role in different sectors.
هنوزم فرصت هایی که برای طبقه اوناس برای قشر اوناس افغان مد نظر گرفته هنوزم به نظر شخصی خودم بسنده نیست به نظر شخصی خودم نه بلکه به نظر تمام طبقه اوناس ببینیم بسنده نیست هنوزم خشونت ها جریان داره به بعضی نقاط دوردست افغانستان هنوزم که از نگاه دیدگاه حکومت کم دورتر می باشه خشونت ها جریان داره هنوزم بسنده نیست و با امید این هستیم که روز تمام حق حقوق طبقه اوناس برشان داده شود.
Some of the women expressed that they who live in urban areas have still received some of their rights, but they want to raise the voice of those women who live in other areas of the country and are suffering. The rally also included an exhibition reflecting the plight of Afghan women.
A self-defense and combat sports competition was organized on Wednesday in Srinagar, city of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province, to train young girls in the field of martial arts. Around 100 schoolgirls participated in the competition. A district-level self-defense and combat sports competition was organized on Wednesday in Srinagar, city of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province, to train young girls in the field of martial arts. Around 100 schoolgirls hailing from different educational institutions of the district participated in the competition, where they were taught different techniques of martial arts. According to the organizers, the prime motive of the event was to teach the girls the basics of self-defense so that they can protect themselves from any adversity.
बहुत ज़रूरी है एक लड़की के लिए सेल्फ डिफेंस ताकि वो खुद स्टैंड हो सके खुद अपने पैरों पे स्टैंड हो सके और खुद कर सके मतलब खुद सेल्फ डिफेंस कर सके अपने लिए
हमारा इस फर्स्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेल्फ डिफेंस कंपटीशन चल रहा है यहाँ पर जिसमें हम सेल्फ डिफेंस के बारे में बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं कि फर्स्ट आपको पहले सेल्फ डिफेंस में कौन से स्टेप्स क्या करने चाहिए बिकॉज ऑफ सेफ्टी पहले आनी चाहिए जिसमें हर एक बच्चा जो है कभी भी किसी को ज़रूरत पड़े सेल्फ डिफेंस में उसको क्या करना चाहिए वो हम सिखाएंगे यहाँ पर
Martial arts are codified systems and traditions of combat practices which can be practiced for self-defense. The young girls were hopeful that they can have a bright future if they continue with the sport, which will also help them in self-defense. A remote village in India's northern Uttar Pradesh province has been completely powered by solar panels installed on the top of every hut. The tricky terrain of the remote hamlet had made it difficult for the government to take electric poles there, so it decided to turn to solar energy for the electricity needs.
While the world is exploring the option of renewable energy sources to deal with effects of climate change, The remote Mandiron Wali Bhuddi village in Amroha district of India's northern Uttar Pradesh province is setting an example by being completely powered by solar energy. The sight of solar panels installed on every hut made of mud and straw, hosting buffaloes in their courtyards, make for an uncharacteristic sight. However, this has definitely made life easier for the residents of the small village. Their tricky terrain had made it difficult for the government to take electric poles to the village, so it decided to turn to the solar energy for their electricity needs.
अजी अब तो बहुत बदलाव आएगा। इस टाइम इतना बदलाव आएगा कि हमारे जो बालक हैं छोटे छोटे जो स्कूलों में पढ़े वो घर भी पढ़ लेते हैं, हम भी ऊँजीते में ठीक रहे में अपना पंखा चल रहे हैं, गर्मी में आराम मिले हमें भी।
अब तो इतना हुआ है कि बालक बच्चियों को भी सब कोई फायदा है, ढोर डंगर भी बंधेरे में ऊँजीते में देखते रहे में, जब तो कुछ भी ना होता अभी तो फायदा तो होगा।
India and France had laid the foundation for an international solar alliance with more than 122 countries in 2016. The country has been focusing on solar energy for more than 8 years and aims to acquire solar power manufacturing capacity of 100 gigawatts by 2022 with an investment of $100 billion.
Mahmood Ali, a centenarian voter from India's northeastern Assam province, is all set to vote in the second phase of the ongoing general election in the country. The world's largest democratic exercise began on April 11th and would conclude on May 19th. The results would be announced on May 23rd.
One of India's oldest voters, said to be 116-year-old Mahmood Ali, is all set to vote in the second phase of the ongoing general election in the country. The centenarian voter, who lives in remote Karimganj district of India's northeastern Assam province, has also been a part of the Indian freedom struggle and has always made it a point to vote whenever there is any election in their constituency. His strict adherence to the moral duty of casting his vote in spite of his old age infirmities has made him a source of inspiration for the younger generation in the country. The world's largest democratic exercise began on April 11th in India. The second phase of the election is scheduled to be held on April 18th. The voting will end on May 19th and the results for the seven-phase election would be declared on May 23rd.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Pakistan mocking itself by taking scribes to madrasa. India didn't even target, says Indian Defence Minister. Protesters in London demand Pakistan to stop exploiting water resources in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. And list of delegation for Afghan peace talks in Doha not all-inclusive, says critics. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.